The people's president, the mighty warrior of our time, the one not afraid to take the spear. Why Sabi white monopoly capital? Why launch radical economic transformation? For God so loved the world that he gave it to his only son, and that he who believes in him shall see the kingdom of God. Like Daniel, you were thrown in the lion's den. The enemy thought that was your end. They began to celebrate. Those who jump before the drum beat. You are an undisputable champion, undefeated, with 8 technical knockouts, 0 defeats, 0 draws. You are a conqueror. You are a winner. You emerged a victor, like Muhammad Ali against Joe Frazier. You surprised many by destroying the opponent. Lest we forget that it was not an easy fight. It was a killer, a thriller, and a chiller against a gorilla in Manila. You fought like a warrior. In the spirit of Shaka, the warrior that never retreated. March on, Msholozi. The people's president, in Europe, in Asia, in America, the world is talking about you. The world is talking about you. You matter because it is your leadership that this country started talking about radical economic transformation. It is under your leadership that the entire continent once again have hope. Hope that the BRICS Bank will eliminate the reliance to the West. And yes, they have attempted to emulate your success, but they have failed. They have tried to tarnish your image and still failed. Bayakhala, bathi uzobakhipha ukudla emlonyeni. It is unbelievable that even in the Holy Scriptures there is white monopoly capital. Deuteronomy 28, foreigners who live in your land will gain more and more power while you gradually lose yours. They will have money to lend you, but you will never have money to lend them, and in the end they will be your rulers. This is a settler that descended on our shores uninvited, unannounced, and unwanted. He imposed himself on all things beautiful, on our land, on our sea, on our mountains, on our women. A capitalist captured our minerals, captured the fish on our shores, captured the grapes on our fertile soil, and established the Dutch East Indian Company. This white monopoly capital, they tried to teach me to worship a sheep, dromedaries, Goedehoop, and Reiger. These denialists are denying that there is white monopoly capital because they have been co-opted by the co-opters, and now they are cooperating in defense of a system that robbed us of our land. They are defending those who captured Ifaletu. It is unfortunate that some of us are still arguing about white monopoly capital, like many that think that Africa is a destination. It is not a destination, but an identity. I cannot go to Africa because I am Africa. You cannot identify yourself by the destination you reach. So why do we call everyone a South African? Simply because they were born on our shores. I am not a South African. I am an African born in the South. My president, like a relay, many of our young people, they are ready to take a baton to finish the race in realization of the radical economic transformation. And uma sihluleka baba, mina ngiyothi awulethe umshini wami.
you very much, Director of the Program. And thank you very much, Imbongi. Honorable Premier of the Free State, Ndate Ace Mahashule, Minister of Small Business, Me Lindi Wezulu, of course, Small Business Development, and I had thought that we had included cooperatives. Something went wrong somewhere, because that's where it belongs. But we'll address that. Deputy Minister of Small Business Development, MEC for Small Business, Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Dr. Penny Malakwani, and all MECs present here. The Executive Mayor of Mangaung Metro, all mayors and councillors who are present with us here today, the President of SANACO, Mr. Lawrence Bale, the Chairperson of the National Co-operative Apex Forum, Ms. N. Mujana. Ushuguti imazimbu ya producer. Must not forget to tell them that this is a product of Mazimbu. Yeah. Representative of the SADC Secretariat on the role of cooperatives in the region, Dr. Lomkosi Mkonta Gama. Delegates from across the country, distinguished guests who are with us here today, I'm honored and privileged to be part of this momentous occasion of celebrating the International Cooperatives Day. I wish to extend a warm welcome to delegations from within our region, SADC. I know that you have been welcomed by the Premier, by the Minister, but I'm adding my voice to that welcome as for a time given the responsibility to lead the government of this country. We held as SADC a successful 37 SADC summit in Tshwane last weekend. We emphasized the need for stronger economic cooperation within SADC in order to fight poverty. The cooperatives are a key intervention in the battle against hunger in our region, especially amongst the poor and the working class. We thus fully support the cooperatives movement as a government. Since the International Cooperatives Alliance and UN resolutions, cooperatives around the world have been celebrating the International Day of Cooperatives in many ways. South Africa started celebrating the day after becoming one of the signatories to the International Labour Organization Recommendation 193, committing it to the promotion and development of cooperatives in 2006. This has continued to this day, putting people at the center of development, recognizes that cooperatives are about people and are about giving them the tools of being their own economic liberators. Local and international experience shows that the sustainability of cooperatives and SMMEs contributes to poverty alleviation, giving poor people the opportunity to lift themselves out of poverty and its associated forms of deprivation. Cooperatives contribute to the empowerment of poor and marginalized and give practical meaning to our call for radical socio-economic transformation. They give ordinary people power to participate in economic activity and generate income to make a living. The International Co-operative Alliance estimates that the cooperative movement brings together over 800 million people around the world. Furthermore, it is estimated that the livelihood of nearly 3 billion people, or half of the world's population, is generated by cooperative enterprises. Cooperatives provide over 100 million jobs around the world, which is 20% more than multinational enterprises. Cooperatives are thus a proven force for economic and social inclusion. In other words, if we are serious about reducing poverty, unemployment, and inequality in our country, we must invest more in cooperatives. This year, our government has chosen to celebrate this significant occasion by providing a platform to cooperatives to exhibit and showcase their products and services. The exhibition demonstrates that in the true spirit of Lesima and Vuk'uzenzele, these cooperatives are at the forefront of uplifting themselves and their own communities. This is important because cooperatives hold some of the answers to the pressing socio-economic challenges that confront us. They provide an avenue for people at the basic community level to be involved in income-generating activity. Importantly, cooperatives provide an opportunity for women to participate in the economy. We are pleased at the many cooperatives formed by women that are involved in food production, sewing, school uniforms, or other activities that also promote community development. We assure our people that one of the key commitments of government is to unlock the potential of SMMEs, cooperatives, township and rural enterprises as vehicles that can lead to the achievement of inclusive economic growth. The intention of government is to ensure that 30% of its procurement is accessed by these people's enterprises. It is for this reason that government actively supports cooperatives already. Government runs the cooperatives incentive scheme, a grant directed for cooperatives with no repayment expected, run by the Department of Small Business Development. More than 50% of the allocated 75 million rand was accessed by women-owned and led cooperatives, with a majority of women members in the past financial year. Through this fund, the cooperatives acquired in the main farming implements and inputs, industrial overlocks and embroidery machines, as well as events, management, equipment, among others. One of the flagship programs of government, also through the Department of Small Business Development, is the Women in Maize program, which seeks to empower 5,000 women-run maize farming cooperatives over the next 5 years. To date, just over 13 cooperatives are participating in this program, with a combined 150 hectares of land cultivated. Just above 18 tons of maize was harvested during the first harvest in October 2016. This has benefited the participating cooperatives with almost 1 million rand financial injection and a lot of skills in productivity. We have also seen great success of cooperatives run by women in various communities. Our government runs a school nutrition scheme feeding over 9 million children daily. Government procures the vegetables and the other foodstuffs from many women's cooperatives in many instances. We urge more and more government departments and spheres of government to buy produce from cooperatives. Cooperatives will not grow without that direct and deliberate empowerment. We have encouraged other government departments to also use cooperatives extensively. government, through the Department of Social Development, has successfully linked 632 cooperatives to economic opportunities to the value of 91 million rand. More than 300 of these cooperatives supplied school uniforms and dignity packs to school children in the past financial year. More than 200 cooperatives supplied food to 8 provincial food distribution centers and community nutrition and development centers. Through these linkages, more than 3,000 members of cooperatives participated in economic activities that benefited more than 12,000 members of their households. This demonstrates the potential of cooperatives. The National Department of Social Development has also facilitated the establishment of a network of food distribution centers and community nutrition development centers in partnership with non-profit organizations operating in the targeted deprived communities. Through this program, the Department of Social Development provided food to more than 3 million beneficiaries during the 2005-2006 financial year. The program has created a market for 245 emerging food producers and cooperatives, and procured about 9 million rand worth of food from them. These emerging food producers and cooperatives would previously not be able to participate in the food supply chain in this country. The Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries also supports many women-run cooperatives engaged in food production and subsistence farming. We ensure you that we know the value of cooperatives as government. We have seen them in action and changing people's lives. We want to see cooperatives expand and grow. That is why this gathering is so important, as you also want to see cooperatives expand as part of promoting inclusive growth and radical economic transformation. When we talk of radical economic transformation, we want to see practical change in the economic landscape by opening up the space for the ownership and management of the means of production by black people who were excluded deliberately. Cooperatives and SMMEs are part of the arsenal at our disposal to give the poor economic power and a better quality of life. Therefore, emerging from these 2 days must be concrete programs that will empower cooperatives to participate meaningfully in the mainstream economy. Together, we must send a loud and unequivocal message that as partners, we recognize and acknowledge the critical importance of cooperatives in economic development and in contributing towards a just and equal society. Together, we must make a solemn pledge that we will utilize every ounce of our energy to ensure that cooperatives grow and thrive. Indeed, cooperatives are an example of this spirit of Vuk'uzenzele. Cooperatives, by their very nature, are about initiative and self-reliance. Importantly, cooperatives are at the center of the much-needed village and township economic revival. While a lot of progress has been made in the area of cooperatives development and growth, there are still included in the central supplier database. Government entities must assist them and show them how this is done. Without such practical support, we will not achieve our goals of providing economic empowerment for our people, especially women, in the townships and villages of our country. Together, we must ensure that cooperatives have access to markets and that they benefit from the state and private sector procurement opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, government stands ready to work with all stakeholders to take the cooperative movement forward. We'll continue to strengthen and extend partnerships between government and international cooperative movement and other relevant stakeholders. I was happy with the indication here that the decision taken by SADC, as seen in the theme of our chairpersonship of the SADC, that the private sector must of necessity include cooperatives, is absolutely crucial. And I'm happy we have underlined the fact that South Africa is chairing SADC this time around. I think we must make use of that situation to weave in the approach of radical economic transformation, which means a number of things. Changing the system, how the economy has been operating over the centuries, where it had excluded a particular group which is in the majority. all that calls for, in simple terms, is the inclusion of the majority in the economy. And if you do so, you cannot behave as it is business as usual. Because business as usual excluded the majority. And it is in our hands to do something about it. I think we must also take advantage that South Africa very soon is going to be also chairing BRICS. And it is important for you here to understand BRICS better than we still understand it. BRICS is an alternative way of dealing with the lives of citizens globally. You will all know that the huge banks that have existed for centuries have not helped. Many countries have gone there to ask assistance, and the majority of those countries will tell you that the more they ask, the more they sink into problems. BRICS focuses on developing countries to help them get out of difficulties. And I think you need to cast your eyes to BRICS and look at how the cooperatives in those countries are working, whether you could not bring some influence as well to make particularly that bank a bank that can be user-friendly to cooperatives. I think you need to sit down and plan how to approach that bank from the cooperative's point of view. We are going to be sitting in the BRICS summit in a week's time. I would be very happy to carry a very concrete message to present it to BRICS as to what are the cooperatives of SADC saying to BRICS, because BRICS does have the capacity that is growing, and it could add value to our plans, to our programs, and to many other things. And I think you need to find a way whether there are cooperatives in BRICS that you link up with, because I am convinced that BRICS Bank carries the future of the poor people in this globe. So let us not leave it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm truly delighted indeed to be part of the International Cooperatives Day proceedings on this second day of your business. It has been indeed refreshing to hear the leadership speaking here, as well as the department through its minister, about this collective, an important collective that focuses in the main on the poor people, struggling people. But there is an understanding that if cooperatives succeed, it will mean the majority of poor people in the world will succeed. Together, let us build a stronger cooperatives movement. Together, let us fight poverty and unemployment and make radical socio-economic transformation an achievable goal. We have it in our power to do so as the cooperatives. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you successful deliberations and activities further that must take the cooperatives to the second level. Thank you very much indeed.
Arrêtez, Presidente Joal. Alutuahal. Thank you very much, Excellency, our President, Ntate Jacob Zuma. Ba ileng hore ha bana ditsebe ha ba utlwa. Ba nang le tsona ba utlwile. Akere. The President emphasized and also put forward what most of you wanted to hear. Co-ops are a world movement. That is why government will invest and support cooperatives, because cooperatives are a key intervention in the battle against hunger. So therefore, development of the cooperatives is a government's commitment. Because in so doing, government is investing in people to be their own liberators. It's Andra. Thank you very much. Now we come to that moment where we would request His Excellency, our President, Honorable Minister Zulu, the Premier, to do the honors on our behalf as we venture into the handing over process to 14 cooperatives who are recipients of incentive kits and checks as they have been identified. There would be 7 of those who would be receiving incentive checks with regard to checks and certificates as part of the incentive cooperative scheme, and the 7 that will follow thereafter who would be receiving equipment that has been donated to Ntate Obritau of CIR-TV. And as those come to the stage, the ones who are going to receive equipment, we would request Ntate Tau to join them in acknowledging Hore they are here to receive what he has donated. Where are the recipients?
That was a live crossing from a function where 600 entrepreneurs were with the President as he was giving the closing address for the International